Did you know that there was a gun so extraordinary it actually wrote history, quite literally? At first glance, it may sound like fiction, but let me explain. The invention I'm referring to is known as the gun-type device, a firearm-like contraption that changed the course of World War II and perhaps the fate of the modern world. Stay with me, because this isn't your ordinary weapon story. Buckle up for a tale that is as unbelievable as it is true. Let's dive in. Now, when we mention firearms, most people think of weapons of war. Early muskets evolved into rifles, handguns, and automatic machine guns. They're tools that have defined battles and, by extension, altered the course of history. But what if I told you there was a weapon so unique, it transcended its purpose to become not just a tool of destruction, but a harbinger of unparalleled change? It all began during the Manhattan Project, yes, the very secretive scientific venture during World War II. And while the name gun type itself might not sound all that groundbreaking, its implications were earth-shattering. Picture this, a firearm-like device where, instead of firing bullets, it collided two pieces of subcritical uranium to achieve one of humanity's first nuclear detonations. Does that sound mind-blowing already? Trust me, there's more to uncover. The gun-type device was the core operating mechanism behind Little Boy, the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. Let that sink in for a second. A mechanism adapted from the very principles of firearm technology created a moment that redefined warfare, politics, and even humanity's place on this planet. But how exactly did this gun work? The genius of the gun-type design lay in its simplicity, at least as far as nuclear physics go. It mimicked the basic dynamics of a firearm. Think of a traditional gun, which operates by igniting gunpowder to push a bullet down a barrel. In this case, replace the bullet with a ring-shaped piece of uranium and a second uranium cylinder. The trigger? A conventional explosion that rammed these materials together at incredible speed. Why? Because when two subcritical masses of uranium collide, they form a supercritical mass capable of starting a nuclear chain reaction. This reaction releases an unimaginable amount of energy, essentially a nuclear explosion. Here's why the gun-type mechanism was so remarkable. Its design was simple. So simple, in fact, that unlike other nuclear devices that required complex calibration, scientists were so confident in the concept that Little Boy was never even tested before it was deployed. Yes, you heard that right. A weapon using this gun-like technology was considered so groundbreaking, it went straight from the lab to the battlefield. Let that sink in. But why was this design so pivotal in human history? To understand its importance, consider what the world was like en route to 1945. The Allies were embroiled in a devastating war, facing an enemy unwilling to surrender. Japan's military was entrenched, and the human cost of a conventional invasion would have been incalculable for both Allied forces and Japanese civilians. The United States needed an answer, one that could end the war swiftly. Enter the gun-type mechanism and its terrifying offspring, Little Boy. By delivering the world's first active nuclear strike, it forced an end to global conflict, but also ushered in the atomic age, a period marked by the looming specter of nuclear annihilation. You might now be wondering why I said this incredible invention wrote history. Because what followed Hiroshima wasn't just the end of a war, it was the rewriting of the world order. The existence of nuclear weapons drastically shifted global politics. Entire ideologies clashed over their presence, giving rise to the Cold War, arms races, and disarmament treaties. All of this is connected to that one pivotal moment when a firearm-like technology laid bare humanity's capability to wield unimaginable power. Let's zoom in further. Did you know that the gun-type mechanism had a sibling? The more technically advanced implosion method used in the atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki. That design eventually became the focus of future nuclear programs because it was considered more efficient. Still, the gun type has its unique legacy. It was simple, effective, and perhaps the most iconic weaponized tool ever created. Not because of its complexity, but because of its devastating simplicity. But here's what truly cements this story as extraordinary. Even long after Little Boy, the concept of a firearm-like mechanism influencing fields beyond war has fascinated scientists. The idea of harnessing kinetic energy through directed force isn't limited to destruction. Variants inspired by this principle are used in advancing space travel propulsion systems, simulating high-impact scenarios in physics, and even creating cutting-edge technologies for mining and material recovery. It's almost ironic, isn't it? A horrifying innovation also became a powerful source of inspiration for progress. Of course, all this history comes with a gigantic ethical asterisk. The use of the gun-type invention in Hiroshima remains one of the most controversial decisions in history. Was the cost of human lives justified to end the war? Could alternatives have been pursued? Such moral questions have haunted policymakers and historians, with the lessons learned from Hiroshima influencing international diplomacy even to this day. Now, let's circle back to this incredible firearm-like invention. Although it might not resemble any shotgun or pistol you have ever seen, its roots stem from understanding the simplest mechanics of firearms: force, collision, and release of energy. By adapting these principles on an atomic scale, scientists created a device that could not only end a war, but redefine humanity's understanding of power itself. And so, the gun type deserves its place as one of the most remarkable uses of firearm technology in history. Not because it fired in the traditional sense, but because its mechanism rewrote how we think about weapons, morality, and our collective future. A gun that could write history? It might sound like science fiction, but it's as real as it gets. As we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. The gun-type mechanism stands as a sobering reminder of what is possible when innovation meets urgency. It's proof that even the simplest designs can produce the most profound impacts, both for better and worse. It's a story of science, war, and humanity, and it all started with a design inspired by a gun. What do you think about this remarkable piece of history? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more stories like this one. Until next time, keep your mind open and always be curious about the stories behind the things we think we already know. See you in the next episode.